bust, bust, bust.
All right, next thing I want to talk about is Joe Budden. If a nigga hate and call him Joe Budden. Kidding. I've actually come to liking of Joe Budden, you know, through his podcast. I've come to like him. He's a cool figure.
My state and second single on fire.
He knows a lot. He knows, you know, I feel like he's the right person to do what he's doing currently, you know, which is obviously the podcast and everything, but he's also like a hip hop music in general spokesman, you know, that type of mogul type of vibe. No, not really a mogul, but like he's like a spokesman. He's like a documentarian of hip hop and what's happening through his podcast and all of that. So yeah, I've grown to like him, and the fact that he was also an artist prior to him being where he is now and doing what he's doing now, I think that also adds. He's got like the 2% and what it means to be now covering the artists, you know, being journalism, being media, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a cool like interview-ish, documentary-ish thingy that Complex has released on him. It was dope. I watched it. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna watch all of it. We're gonna watch the part where he's talking about his label, like what heck, all of that. And so he speaks about the label issue, and then he also spots us really need to sign to labels, all of that. So it's very all right, cool. Let's take it back. I think it's back now. It's much better. Yeah. So I'm gonna take it. Let's just continue.
They sold that contract to E1. So now you want E1 and a contract if you don't want to be in it. So we got about 10 years now of just amazed. Just like an escape room with like no real exit. Still in a bad pub deal, not a bad pub deal, but outdated pub deal from 2001 that doesn't count independence, that doesn't count EPs, that doesn't count bodies of work with all original music. So now it takes 7.
Yeah, that's the old slave deals, man. They didn't count shit. If they say they want a project, they want a project. The project's got to be a certain length. It's got to have a certain amount of songs. It's got to be dropped within a certain window. You know, like for example, if you sign a deal, a record deal with a label, right? And let's say it's for like 3 albums, right? You can't just come to them and, you know, let's say you signed it in 2020. 2020, you give them an album. 2021, you give them an album. 2022, you give them an album. No, it doesn't work like that. They got to reject it. There's got to be space in between the albums, you know, for it to count as an album. So usually it could be like a year and a half, 2 years, you know. So you think you're signing for 3 albums. Yeah, you're signing for 3 albums. But in between, you got to wait at least 2 years to drop that other album. So you can end up like, imagine if you're signing 5 years, right? Let's say you're signing a 5-year album and you got to wait, let's say you got to wait a year in between that 5 years. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much double. So you're pretty much signing a 10-year deal, you know, for 5 albums. It's pretty crazy, right?
17 years to get out of that. Oh my Lord. Talk about stress. Very predatory business. Before you even get to all the financial imbalances, it's just a predatory business. There's no way to expect someone that is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 to have a grasp of even a portion of this. There's no way it's possible.
Exactly. I want to take that back. I want you guys to hear correctly, especially because I'm going to make a video of that. But if you're going to watch this and then watch the DJ Mampurisi thing, that's great. So I want you guys to hear what he says, which is very, very important.
There's no way to expect someone that is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 to have a grasp of even a portion of this. There's no way it's possible.
Exactly. You see, he said there's no way you can expect somebody's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, who has no sort of legal background, who has no sort of any music law education to understand how labels work, how deals work, how contracts work, how licenses agreements work, how signing, what does it actually mean to sign to a fucking label? You know what I mean? So, and that's where the exploitation comes from. It comes from exploiting the lack of knowledge that these artists have. And we're going to get to DJ Maporis. Let's let Joe finish.
In the current climate, that it makes sense for an artist to sign to a major label?
I mean, I didn't think that back then, but I mean, now more than ever, I don't really see it. I don't see the benefit.
Why not?
Because you used to have to rely on the label for almost everything, and today you don't. Back then, you couldn't distribute, you couldn't market, you couldn't pay for things, you couldn't hit radio, you couldn't get listeners. Well, now, today, if you have your own team to kind of take care of things, there's nothing that you pretty much cannot do. So what are you signing for? Like, what do you want out of it?
Yeah, definitely. So in this day and age, and it's like signing to a record label doesn't mean the same thing as it used to, you know? Back then, signing to a record label was like, bro, them niggas are going to do everything for you. They change your life. They can do things you can't do. Because as an artist back then, all you could pretty much do was just rap, right? And rap That's all you could do. You know what I mean? Can't record yourself because you don't have money to go to your studio. You don't have access to a studio. You don't even, you know, there's probably nobody around you who has the knowledge to even fucking record something like that. So back then it was just crazy. You had to sign to a label in order for them to help you make music and, you know, blow up and pop, because they knew everybody. They know all the promoters. They know all the marketing tricks and all of that. So they know how to fucking, you know, grow you and stuff like that. That was back then, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Now in the new age and the digital, man, as you said, as Joe said, all you need is a team. All you need is a publisher. All you need is a lawyer. All you need is a manager. All you need is a distributor. All you need is, you know, your engineer, producer, all of that, for videographer, editor, all of that. You just need a team. You pretty much, in this point, in this time right now, like if you look at most of the artists, even the big artists, the upcoming artists, all of them are now becoming their own labels. And what they're doing is that they're not signing to labels anymore. These artists, they don't sign to labels anymore. What they do is that they're now doing joint ventures. They're now just doing distribution or publishing. You know what I mean? So they're not really giving their rights away anymore. They're not giving their masters away. Hence why the labels are kind of suffering now. There's no money because they're just not getting they're not getting any more of the mechanical rights and the masters and all of that. So then obviously you can't benefit from the royalties as much as they used to. You know, back then, nigga, you're signed to a label. It's 95-5. You know what I mean? Label gets 95, you get 5. You know, now it's like niggas are signing joint ventures. It's a partnership. You know what I mean? If it's not 50-50, they don't care. You know, they don't need your money because they're building their hype. Most of the artists right now, they already have studios ready. They already have, you know, engineers and stuff. They have marketing budgets. They have everything. They just need your super machine so that they can go from here to here. You know what I mean? But doesn't mean that now artists need labels anymore. Like, man, that shit's outdated. You know? Yeah, I think let's leave it there, because then what else is he talking about?
How did going all digital impact your business?
Well, shit. At that point, I was fresh off of Def Jam. Like, got all my rights back from them. So there is really no business now. And again, just got by. Just got me by. That's what we did. Going all digital because it wasn't set up right. But great idea. Just too early.
So this is like pre-streaming.
Yeah.
Peak iTunes store.
Really early. But I mean, I think my first all digital release, I did 14,000 copies week 1. The second week, I made it jump down to 8. It was great in hindsight, but it wasn't received that way. It looked like, oh my God, Joe Budden's going on for dear life. But I was just trying to innovate. Now, there wasn't a album template that had to be followed. There wasn't a song structure that had to be followed. So like, if I just want to come out and rap 90 bars with no hook, then over here, nobody gives a fuck. There's nobody trying to arrange this differently. So it was just creative freedom. And then Slaughterhouse comes into existence.
It's like 09.
Yeah, 09.
Oh yeah, it was part of Slaughter Gang as well. Yeah, just remember that. All right, cool. No, I kind of just wanted Joe to talk about that tidbit just for this. Like, but I did watch it. It was very informative. Like, I like Joe now. I really like Joe now. So you guys watch it if you wanted to get to know more about Joe Budden and yeah, because I think it's like, yo, man, he's such a, you know, he's such a hood man now. You know, he's like, he's aged so well. He's used to be so, you know, fucking just off the wall. He just used to be bullshit, crazy, just say crass things. He still does, but now there's more comedy to it. There's more wisdom to it. There's more, it's like, it's less personal. Back then, it's like, it seemed like he took everything personal. Like he would just come at niggas artists personally. It felt like that, you know, and what comes to mind is the interview with Lil Yachty. For me, it felt like it was a personal attack on like this nigga did not like Lil Yachty, which is crazy because you didn't even know him. You know what I mean? So yeah, just to see his progression, he's becoming a cool guy. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining to watch on his podcast. So yeah, if you guys want to know more about Joe Budden, go watch it. Shout out to Complex. Shout out to if a nigga hating, call him Joe Budden. Let's move on.
Bus. I told that baby go. Bus.